Hello and warm welcome to FST Online, the channel of food science and technology. Myself, Professor Sonal Chaudhary, Assistant Professor of Food Technology, trying to explain about probiotics through this video. The word probiotic is derived from two Greek words, which means for life. The first scientist to discover health benefits of probiotics was the immunologist Dr. Elie Metchnikoff, and for his work he was awarded by the Nobel Prize in 1908. Definition of probiotics was given by Food and Agriculture Organization, that is FAO, and World Health Organization, that is WHO, as live microorganisms that, when administered in adequate amounts, confer a health benefit on the host. It means probiotics are the living microorganisms which are beneficial for our health, and it is necessary to consume it in a sufficient quantity. If microorganism is beneficial, but the quantity consumed is not sufficient, it means that type of microorganism can't be called as a probiotic. If we want to term microorganism or a microbial strain as a probiotic, it means it should be in a living state, it should have health benefits on our human health, as well as they should be consumed in sufficient quantity. These probiotics include large range of microorganisms, mainly bacteria, but also yeast. Here is the image of digestive tract of human system. From this image we can get an idea that microorganisms are distributed in various organs associated with digestive tract in varied quantity. From this we can understand that microorganisms are present in least quantity in stomach and present in highest quantity in colon, that is large intestine region. So let us understand in which regions the microorganisms are present in how much quantity in human body. Bacteria are present in several regions of the body, including the mouth, nose, pharynx, intestinal tract, vaginal tract, and skin. The stomach is not heavily colonized because of its low pH. Why there is low pH in stomach? Because there is secretion of hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and this hydrochloric acid is responsible for low pH, and this typically harbors up to 10⁻³ colony forming units per gram of the contents, which mainly consist of lactobacilli, streptococci, and yeast. The duodenum, or first part of the small intestine, also has low microbial population because of both the quick transit of content through it and because of presence of pancreatic secretion that create hostile environment of microbes. Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, above which there is a pancreas, and pancreal secretion immediately come towards the small intestine, as well as there is low residence time of food in this region, and because of this there is low microbial population in first part of the small intestine. But after duodenum, in other two parts of small intestine, that is jejunum and ileum, it is found that there is progressive increase in both numbers and species of microbes, which found to be in the range of 10⁻⁴ to 10⁻�67 colony forming units per gram of the contents in this region. The colon, that is large intestine, is most heavily populated area of the gastrointestinal tract, where The number of microorganisms typically in the range of 10 raised to 11 colony forming units per gram of the contents. The environment which is present in the large intestine supports the greater bacterial growth because of lower transit time, ready availability of the nutrients and favorable pH. Microorganisms like Lactococcus lactis, Enterococcus faecium, Escherichia coli, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Saccharomyces boulardii, Bifidobacteria, etc. are the best examples of probiotics. Let us understand some important properties for effective and successful probiotics. Probiotic strain should survive at the site where it should be active. Suppose we want to remain probiotic active at large intestine region. We will consume the probiotic through mouth. It will then enter to esophagus. From esophagus, it will move towards stomach, then to small intestine, and then it will reach to the large intestine. So the probiotic, when travel through this long channel, should not lose its activity during traveling. It should remain active up till it reaches to its active site where it is necessary. For maximum activity, strain should be able to grow and colonize at this active site. It means only reaching at the active site is not sufficient. After reaching at the active site, the probiotic strain should have the capacity to grow and to multiply in a sufficient quantity for maximum activity. Later on, probiotics should be tolerated by the immune system. Since every individual have different immune system, so body will react differently on the probiotics. So the strain that works as the probiotic have the capacity to tolerate the immune system of different individuals. Probiotics should not be pathogenic, mutagenic, carcinogenic or allergic. Probiotics for humans should have generally recognized as safe, that is GRAS status, because probiotics will be consumed either in the form of food or as a separate food formulation. Probiotics should also be technologically compatible with the food manufacturing processes. If the microorganisms as a probiotic are added in a food and during manufacturing of that type of food, the process will kill the microorganisms, then the prepared food cannot be called as a probiotic food. That's why the strain should be technologically compatible with the manufacturing process. Food containing the probiotic bacteria must maintain the characteristics, sensory attributes of the traditional food. If we are adding the probiotic microorganisms into the food, then after adding such a microorganisms, color, flavor, taste, texture, other overall acceptable sensory parameters must not be affected inversely by addition of such type of microorganisms. Now let us understand mechanism of action of probiotics. Probiotics works in many ways as a beneficial agent. First is by receptor competition, where probiotics compete with the microbial pathogens for limited number of receptors present on the surface of the intestinal epithelium. Suppose this is the surface of intestinal epithelium on which there are receptors for various nutrients. What will happen? Probiotic will take the place of the receptors. It will block the site of the receptor, and ultimately pathogens will not get the receptors to get attached at the active site, and hence pathogen will suffer for their existence. Ultimately, they will not get the receptor site and they will lose their activity, their population will reduce, and thus probiotics help in reducing microorganisms. Those are pathogenic in nature. Another mechanism suggests that probiotic release antimicrobial agents such as organic acids, free fatty acids, hydrogen peroxide, and bacteriocins, which may induce an antagonistic action against pathogenic organisms. Because of accumulation of such metabolites reduces the pH of the surrounding environment, which may directly inhibit the growth of harmful organisms. Lactic acid bacteria also release antimicrobial substances like deuterin and bacteriocins, and this is the most widely accepted theory by which the lactic acid bacteria acts as a probiotic and reduces the activity of the pathogenic microorganisms. Another way of mechanism in which increased induction of mucin secretion results in enhanced binding of the probiotics to the intestinal mucosa. So what happens if the probiotic will bind at intestinal mucosa? It will block the binding site and ultimately pathogen will not get the site for the binding. In various studies, it has been demonstrated that Lactobacillus acidophilus and Lactobacillus cesae adhere to the CACO2 cells at the expense of enteropathogens such as Salmonella typhimurium, Yersinia enterolytica at a relatively high number. In one of the mechanisms, it is said that probiotics and pathogens compete with each other for nutrients in the gastrointestinal tract. For example, these are nutrients. Probiotic will immediately take the nutrients, they will survive on it, they will grow, multiply and form the colonies. While pathogenic microorganisms will get deficient in availability of the nutrients and ultimately their population will reduce, and thus probiotic helps in reducing pathogenic microorganisms. This is the image in which it can be cleared that probiotic works in various ways in reducing pathogenic microorganisms. By another action, probiotic stabilizes intestinal permeability barrier, where colonization by pathogens are restricted, which eliminates foreign antigens which have penetrated the mucosa and regulates the antigen-specific immune responses. Probiotics have shown various health benefits such as they are helpful for oral health. Probiotics are helpful for lactose metabolism and proper food digestion. It is also helpful for controlling diabetes. Probiotics are also helpful for urinary tract and upper respiratory tract infection. As well, they are helpful for coronary heart disease. It is also helpful in reducing high blood pressure. Probiotics are helpful in normalizing cholesterol level. Probiotics helps in maintaining constipation and ulcer-like disorders. It is helpful in increasing antioxidative activity, while probiotics shown higher immune response and reduces parasitic infections. Food like yogurt, buttermilk, miso soup, sauerkraut are source of probiotic microorganisms. Thus, these foods are also known as probiotic foods. Thank you for listening patiently. If you found it worthy, like it, share, and subscribe to FST Online.